Hello everyone, my name is Macaulay Smansky, but please call me Mac. I'm an integration specialist with Colme Group, and I build and maintain custom connectors into various IPaaS tools, architect business solutions, and configure integrations into customer environments. Today, we're going to be talking about integrations and IPaaS tools, namely the Intro to IPaaS tools ClickUp to Slack via Zapier. Integrations oftentimes evoke imagery of a wizard sitting behind a curtain. Speaking from experience, however, once you understand the background, it's far simpler than anticipated. Some of you watching this may have already created workflow automations within your tool of choice where, when something happens, do something specific. In essence, this is what integrations are doing, and oftentimes the process is made far simpler by fully understanding the business process at work for your business as a business owner or your clients as a technical consultant. In any integration, it'll be helpful to know a few functional requirements, which will be branching into a few different sections which correspond to the 5 questions in who, what, when, where, and why. These will be out of order loosely based on the importance of the information at hand. Let's get started. These are the 5 questions that we're going to ask ourselves. What is the purpose? What are the conditions? What are the objects and custom fields we're working with? What's the software? And how do we want that data transformed? The first question that we'll ask is, what is the purpose of our integration? Do we need more visibility? Do we need more precisely focused data? Perhaps a need for more complex data transformation? Well, what this does is this establishes the why of our business process and helps set a direction for what we're trying to accomplish with our integration. The next question we ask ourselves is, what are the conditions for this integration to fire? What we call these oftentimes are triggers. If it's based on time, when do we need it and how often? And if it's based on an event, what are the computer-specific conditions that we can validate? Is it on the creation of a task, or is it when a custom field is updated? What this does is this helps establish our when of this business process. Next thing we ask is, what objects and custom fields are we interacting with? In ClickUp, let's say, are we sending data from the task, and if so, which fields? Perhaps we're grabbing the metadata off the list. What this does is this establishes the where of the business process. This one is oftentimes pretty straightforward, but it can be pretty complex when you're interacting with multiple tiers with a given hierarchy. The second to last question we're going to be asking ourselves is, what is the software that we're integrating? This establishes the metaphorical who we are trying to connect. Later, we'll be integrating ClickUp to Zapier. The last question that we have here is the bread and butter of any IPaaS tool and us as an integration team, and it is how we want to transform the said data. Do we want to use out-of-the-box solutions, maybe custom integrations, perhaps custom code, and if so, which languages are we trying to use? JavaScript, Python, Ruby, so on and so forth. Each of these 5 questions tells a little bit different of a story, and making sure that we're precise with our data collection will help us build the integration even better than if we had asked no questions or shallow questions in the beginning. We can use these as a model for today's integration. Use case. Your company is Barnum & Spiffy LLC. You're a national organization that focuses on being the front line to ensuring that zoo and carnival events around the country are made pristine prior to inspection. Recently, you've noticed that there's an uptick in the amount of contracts coming through, and your company is tasked to take on multiple cleanings a day. You've used Slack to help keep in touch with employees, but you want to speed up the notification process to immediately send details to the relevant channel when the newly accepted contract comes in as a task. The task that represents the contract has all the relevant details upon submission, and you want to format that data in a very specific way to a Slack channel. In your line of work, you're already using different lists in a PPM tool like ClickUp, separated by city and state, but you want to make sure that your employees can deploy quickly to new work that comes in through even more messaging and notifications. Now we can frame this with our 5-question model that we established earlier. What is the purpose of this integration? The why? More visibility, quicker speed of service, and more precise data. This saves us man hours so that we can do more of these contracts themselves when they come in. What are the conditions for this integration to fire? The when. A new task is created and a cleaner sector dropdown is equal to a specific city. What are the objects and custom fields we're interacting with? The where. The object itself is a task, and the custom fields that we're looking at are the customer name, start time, text address, services purchased, description, and sector. What software are we integrating, or the who? Zapier and ClickUp. The last question we ask ourselves is, how would we want to transform said data? Let me pull up a picture of a channel message in Slack that we want to model. The top area that says a new contract has been posted will be static. We fill in with the client name, the start time, the address, the services purchased, description, and finally, a link to the task itself. From this point, we can start building in our IPaaS tool, and we'll be utilizing Zapier in this situation. Let's follow up into that.
As we can see in front of us, we have a fully fleshed out Zapier integration. In the 5 questions that we asked a little bit before, we can use this to understand a little bit more about the build process. Now, these questions start to get a little bit overlapped when we are doing the build, but having a strong understanding of the structure makes for a significantly stronger and quicker build process. Let's start from the top where we have the trigger. The trigger itself is when a new task is created. We aren't talking about the conditions as of just yet, as this is just the creation of that task. The next 2 steps are going to be data manipulation, where we're using 2 utility steps to parse through the custom fields that are involved within that task being created. Next step is using those conditions to go between the 3 different paths of different sectors or teams. This is using the data that has been extracted in step 2 and 3 to be able to determine which path to go down. Next, we have our data manipulation, or more data manipulation, where we select our Slack channel message. In here, our message structure looks similar to the one that we brought in the picture before. The asterisks that we can see are manipulating our emphasis. This is making the text a little bit bolder so we can make those individual elements pop. On the right, you can see data pills that have been populated from both the task creation and the step 2 and 3, which will make it so that we have dynamic values going into our messages. This here is the full structure of what we have going on, but let's just see. So this path is going down to Louisville. This path is going to our Olympia team. And this path is going to our Not a Town team. Let's go check this out in ClickUp. So we have a task that's prepared and ready to go. It has 4 populated custom fields, the description and the name. I'll create the task and open up Slack. We'll be able to see this populate. There we are. So in the integration itself, we have updated and customized our individual bot, where we have cleanup bot. This was populated by a URL from an image URL itself. We can see that it says a new contract has been posted, client name, start time, address, service purchased, and the description. It also includes a link to the task itself so that we're able to directly link ourselves to it. This message shows the integration's purpose. What we set out to do was we wanted more visibility for those boots on the ground people who are helping out with our process. At this point, what they're able to do is they're able to see when a contract comes in so that they can act accordingly. With that, we asked and utilized 5 questions that help us create an effective integration. What is the purpose? What are the triggers? What are the objects and custom fields used in the integration? What is the software? And how are we transforming the data? We at Coleman Group value time. As an integration specialist whose job it is to take away repetitive work, I feel we can be of great value in saving time for you and your business. We can assist in many ways, such as building an integration in your IPaaS environment, working with your vision to host in hours, or having our team consult with your SMEs to assist with integration into partnered PPM tools. And I'm Macaulay Smansky, an integration specialist at Coleman Group. Thanks again. If you like what you're hearing, reach out for consultation. We love hearing about ways we can help. And with that, happy integrating.